Hey, more organic family. This is Organic Sister, and tonight I'm coming to you with something that's a little bit different. Initially, I wanted to start this channel this year with the year of productivity, and I have done that, but I've done that more so locally. I also wanted to make this year be the beginning of me literally posting and starting this YouTube channel and doing so at least weekly. Well, I'm here tonight because I find that I am in a position to look at things a little bit differently. In 2024, I said that pivoting was necessary, and we learned how to pivot in certain situations. Well, I think we're going to have to pivot again. If you guys have been under a rock, then you may not know what I'm talking about. But as you guys know, we have had 47 in office. Tomorrow will be 3 weeks. And in that time, he has made some record changes. And I think it's necessary for us at this point to really look at some things that we're doing. And I find that this video should be a an example of what we need to prepare for. As you guys know, a few days ago, he imposed embargoes or tariffs, if you will, with China and Mexico and Canada. And at the time of this recording, Canada has responded. And I think we need to be mindful of where we are right now. You know, America has long been the superpower of the world, and we have used that not only to our advantage, and sometimes we have become a bully to other countries, and we are doing that now with 47. And I tell you, this has me scared. And I know God has not given us the spirit of fear, but I think we need to be prepared. I think we need to make some adjustments to what we're doing because with one fell swoop, this man shut down the federal government where it pays so many of departments and agencies and programs for the federal government. We are looking at federal employees now who may not have a job or who are being asked to retire. And initially was told about 24 months that they would receive severance packages to now 8 months. And so there's definitely been a shift. And this shift is impacting a lot of people. And I think it's going to impact us more than we realize. The reason why I am particularly afraid of what is happening with China and Mexico and Canada is the goods and services that we get imported into our country. I am a former clinical research scientist, so I know what it means when it comes to getting drugs developed and getting drugs in clinical trials and submitted to the FDA for approval or denial. Well, what a lot of people don't know is where we get the vast majority of our medications. The United States pretty much do not produce many of the generic medications that we take. And if you're under any plan, most of the plans will call for or pay for generic medications. And so, unless you are on a plan that pays for brand drugs, then you have no other option but to get the generic drugs. Well, just so that you know, when it comes to getting generic drugs in our country, the vast majority of these generic drugs are coming from China. So if you are imposing more tariffs on China, then that's going to impact us. When you talk about tariffs, well, the people who pay the taxes and the tariffs is the United States. So if he imposes a 25% on Mexico and a 25% on Canada and an additional 10% with China, guess who pays for that? We pay for that. So if we're getting our generic medications from China being imported into our country, well, guess what China can do? If they get mad, they can just stop. We're not looking at our world being halted. All China has to do is say, you know what? We're not going to send over any medications. Do you know how much that will impact the health of the United States? This is so critical that we understand exactly what this man has done or is doing. It's imperative that we now plan and prepare. We really do. So just think about it. I said about 50% of the generics are actually produced in China. The other places that it's produced is in India and in Mexico. Now, India is actually the largest producer, but I want to back up that statement because even though India produces a lot more of our generics, the finished product of our generics, guess where India gets the active ingredients for those pharmaceuticals? India gets it from China. So even though China produces 50% and 40 to 50%, and India produces anywhere from 50 to 60 to 70%, depending on what drug it is still getting its active ingredients from China. So that impacts us. We also have about a 10 to 15% that's coming from Mexico. So if we are now taxing Mexico more, China more, and even Canada more, how would that not impact us? So now you're going to the pharmacy now, and your drug costs are inflated, or guess what? They're no longer there. Now, what many of you guys don't know, that there was a lot of medications last year that was on back order. And I'm not even talking about the semaglutides of the world or these new GLP-1s. I'm talking about your everyday medications, your blood pressure medications, your diabetes medication, your kidney medications, things that we need to actually live. These are medications that has been supporting life. That's why this is so important. And if it starts with the medications, then it's going to be other things. There are things that we get from Canada. There are supplies beyond the alcohol and the oil and even some gas products. So now we're going to be paying more at the pump. We're going to be paying more in the grocery stores. While Mexico may not give us a lot of the medications, guess what? They supply a lot of the medical supplies, our syringes, our medical devices. The United States don't produce a whole lot anymore. We have literally farmed out just about everything to these countries that we no longer produce or make. We don't have large manufacturing facilities here that supports us for sustainability in life. We don't produce that anymore. So this is a game changer. And if these countries don't comply, guess what? 47 has threatened to go even higher. So that's going to be more for us. That's going to be a problem. That's going to be a game changer. That is going to cost us in the pocket. That is going to be so far reaching that we don't even understand the whole scope of this. Now, if you want to cause mass chaos and confusion in the world, this is the way to do it. Now, I don't entirely understand the plan of this. I'm not even political. But I can tell you, being in the medical field and the drug development, this is huge. This is monumental. So just think about your mom or your dad that do not have the strength or the capacity to go to the drugstore and get their medications, and someone has to go for them. And now they're being told that this medication is no longer available, or that this medication is now 2 to 3 times as high as it was last month. These people are already on a fixed income. So how are they going to do this? So we're going to look at people that are at risk dying because they can't get their medications. And here's another thing. Even our natural supplements come from, guess what? China and India, and some even from Mexico. So this is something that we need to open our eyes. Now, I know a lot of us is not aware of this because we're not in those arenas. But guess what? You're going to have to educate yourself. If you haven't prepared, I'm saying right now, inflation is going to be out the roof. Groceries are going to be at an all-time high. Gas, hey, if you got gas barrels, hey, you might want to have to think about storing it up. But food, I'm urging everyone, if you don't know the art of canning, it's time to learn. If you don't know the art of food storage, it's time to learn. If you don't have that green thumb this year, you better consider planting a garden. And if you have medications, you better hold on to it. You better get those prescriptions filled. This is not the time to not get your prescriptions because you go, hey, right now I don't need the medicine or I'm not taking it regularly. Well, honey, sir, ma'am, audience, organic family, you have to do this. This is important and this is imperative. We need to sound the alarm. Never have we ever experienced this. And here's one thing that I want to share with you. Every major dynasty, every major empire has fallen except for the United States. We are in a free fall and I don't even think we can stop it. And this really has nothing to do, well, it has something to do with 47 being in. I think he's accelerated it, but we were in a free fall for a while and no one's talking about it. You know, we have some experts that see it, but it's falling on deaf ears. No one is really paying attention. We've seen the high costs of food. We've seen the shrinkage of food. I mean, I can go to the store now and, you know, what was a 16 ounce or 32 ounce is now 8 ounces. And it would be fine if we were paying the same price. We're not even paying the same price. It's double for less. It's crazy. And it's scary. For me, the way that our economy is not growing, but the way that our economy is turning out. And it's turning out this way based upon decisions that we've made or that we didn't make. So it's time to prepare. You know, hey, we may think it's crazy when you've seen all of these people saying, I'm going off grid. We may not have a choice. If we have someone going into the government and overturning every department that we know, then we better make some preparations. You know, we talk about energy. You know, right now, we already have a grid system that is totally outdated, but we don't know what he's going to do with the Department of Energy. What if he decides, you know what, like some other countries, we're only going to have power 8 hours out of the day. If all of these federal people are getting fired or let go, who's going to run the country? Who's going to run some of these departments? I promise you guys, it's not just about a plane, you know, being ran into by a helicopter. We need to look deeper. We need to start asking questions. We need to just start looking around, and we have to get our head out of the sand. When you can overturn DEI and you have corporations within a day or two overturning this that are not federal agencies, a lot of these retail departments and companies that have overturned DEI, it's crazy. And why it's crazy? It's crazy because they think that they're hurting African Americans. All DEI is not African Americans. And that hurts me. Because every time you hear DEI, you think it's a Black person that has gotten a job. We're not looking at any of the millions of white women that have benefited because of DEI. We're not looking at all of the other disabilities that are benefited by DEI. Anytime it comes to something with taking the African American down, we get all of this negative stuff about us. Well, now America is seeing that DEI is not about us. But at the same time, DEI initiatives being taken away gives every major retailer a license to say, we're only hiring white people. Don't get it twisted. I know that they're saying we're going to hire based upon merit. And I do believe most African Americans that have been hired under DEI, you guys know, we had to know 2, 3 times, 4 times as much as our white counterparts. So if you have a DEI hired, you best believe they know their stuff. And that's just the truth. But if we don't get into an attitude of now holding these companies and these corporations accountable, we're going to be behind. And if we don't stick together like other cultures do, we're going to be behind. We don't see this in any other culture but our culture, where we don't stick together, where our dollars do not circulate in our community like it does other communities. You know, you hear the flashback, okay, let's not support them. Where do we go? We still have trouble supporting our own. Now, we can hold our own accountable, but you can't tell me that you cannot find people in our culture producing some of the same things. Yes, sometimes it is more expensive because we don't have the buying power of our white counterparts. But now it's time to galvanize. Now it's time for us to do that. Now it's time for us to get in a space where we can collaborate and work together. I'm so serious about this because I know that this is going to impact the medical industry. And this is going to impact the medical industry sooner rather than later. So guys, I'm urging you, wake up. It's time to get your head out of the sand. It's time to prepare for what's coming. If you have a cushion job now, you can't say in full confidence that you'll have that in a few months. We don't know what's going to happen, but we know what's happening now. We have to make our moves based upon what we're seeing now, what we've seen in the last 2 weeks. That's just the truth. So now things that you never thought that you had to do before, partner and collaborate with people that have gardens. Maybe now we have to do our own community gardens. But food is going to be a problem. We now see what the prices are of eggs. We may need to partner with Farmer John. That's our reality. If it means now not going to some of these grocery stores, you know, it's going to be inconvenient. But these people don't have a problem with making us inconvenient at all. It's time. It's really time to prepare for what's coming ahead. If you have money, now is not the time to be buying big, expensive things. It's not the time to buy a house. It's not the time to go on a lavish vacation. It's literally time to stock up and store up. I hope this helps. And this is coming from my heart. It's time to prepare.